everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am going full drama today, if you cannot tell. I just filmed one of the looks that I'm going to be including in this video, and it is the not your everyday but fun dramatic smoky eye look. Now this video is very similar, if not exactly the same, as my 5 looks using Makeup Geek shadows. The only difference is that it is 5 looks using Anastasia Beverly Hills shadows. Now, I've shown my collection many times before, but if you're new to my channel and you haven't seen it, I do have 2 Sephora Z palettes that are filled with Anastasia Shadows. I also have like 5 of the limited edition, 4 limited edition palettes and the Modern Renaissance palette, but I just stuck to using singles this time for the 5 looks because I wanted it to be something that you could pick and choose what you get. So this is my large one. You can see some of them are very, very, very well loved. And then I have another mini one that can only stand to have probably 1, maybe 2 if I shoved them in there. These shadows do run more expensive than the Makeup Geek shadows. They are $12 each. You can buy them in a bundle of 4 for $40. And sometimes you can figure it out to get them on a sale. I have gotten the bundle at 20% off at Ulta before, and I've also gotten it at Sephora before. Some people say it doesn't work for them. It has worked for me in the past. It's always worth a try. It's even worth a call to customer service if it doesn't work, because it's worth getting that extra 20% off. If you do the 20% off of the 4, it comes out to be $32, which is $8 a shadow. Still $2 more than Makeup Geek, but 100% worth it. They are some of my very favorite formulated shadows ever. I can always use them on a job or myself and know that they are going to work very successfully for me. They're long lasting. They do have fallout to an extent, but I find that the palettes have a lot more fallout than the singles. And the pigment is something that is very workable. And when I say workable, I mean it is good pigment upon first application, but it's not so pigmented that you're gonna mess a complete eye look up the first time you put the brush on your eye. It's very buildable, it's beautiful, they have an array of colors, and hopefully this video will give you some ideas of some color combinations, maybe some new ones you might want to try out, or just some maybe ideas of how to use some of the ones you may already have. I'm going to jump right in because just like the Makeup Geek, I'm going to take it day by day. I'm going to be in different clothes every day. I'm going to do a different look every day. And, you know, I haven't edited this yet, but I'm sure it's going to be another long video. So if you are interested to see how I came up with 5 different looks using my Anastasia Beverly Hills single shadows, keep on watching. We're not even going to pay attention to my man brows today, so let's not even talk about that. Plus, it is Friday, so my skin is peeling off. Hopefully, you won't be able to tell too much on the camera, but we're going to do a more cool tone look today. So we are going to use probably about 4 shadows. And we are going to start out with Buon Fresco, which is one of the ones that I can never say. This is also a color that's in the Modern Renaissance palette. I have it both in that palette and as a single. I'm using my Sienna Feather 15 brush, and I'm just going to use that as my first color. So we're not going to be too precise. You know me, I need to find some kind of mantra that says something to the fact of, I don't do precise eyes. I don't know. Something like that. If you like cool tone colors, this color is a necessity because it looks so good on so many skin tones. It just pulls a little bit darker or a little bit lighter depending, but it's absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to put on my lid base before I do anything else, and this is the Armani Eye Tint in number 12 Gold Ashes. And I'm just going to put that very lightly on my lid. I don't want it to be super opaque because I don't want to take away from the color of the lid shadow that we're going to use. I just want to provide a nice base. Fix my settings because my husband messed with my color, so I probably looked a little blue before this, and I thought I was recording and I wasn't. So basically what I did was I took my Zoeva 221 Luxe Soft Crease with Dusty Rose, which is basically a Dusty Rose color. It's a couple shades darker than the Buon Fresco, and all I did was I just deepened up the crease just a little bit. Now, I did mention to myself, apparently, that this is a very, very pigmented color, And it's one that you want to start very lightly with because it's one that you can definitely get out of hand with real quick without intending to. So now for the lid color, we're going to go in with Rose, which is this really pretty, it's pretty yet it's subtle. So this is it. It's like rose gold. It kind of reminds me a little of MAC's tan pigment, but it's not as in your face. So we're going to take that on the Sedona Lace 941 lid brush that I use every day of my life and top that base color that we laid down. This is a color that I do like to wear some kind of base under unless you're wanting to go very subtle. If you want it to show up a little bit more sparkly than it is, then use a base color and it will. If not, don't use a base color and it's really subtle, which is one of the reasons I love this shade so much because it is so versatile. And finally, we're going to go in with Deep Plum, which is one of my absolute favorite colors that Anastasia offers. I'm going to use my Luxe Soft Definer Brush 227 from Zoeva, which is very similar to a Morphe M41441, I think, or a MAC 217. It's basically the same shape and same bristles. And I'm just going to lay that Deep Plum color on the outer corner. And after I place it down, I'll turn my brush over like this so that the pigment is on the top and get it a little bit into that crease. I'm going to go in with Dusty Rose, which you'll see is still going to be kind of dark, on my M407 brush, and I'm just going to buff on my lower lash line like I normally do. I'm trying a new powder today, and I just looked in the monitor and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of glowy today. So just make sure to even that out, and that's honestly all I'm going to do on my under eye. I don't know if I can do this glowy. So this is the final look. I feel like it is probably not like every day for everyone. I would totally wear this every day, but I think it's also a really good night out type look. It's cool toned, but I think this is the kind of look that I would totally wear with a black dress. I think it would look so good with black. So I don't know, keep that in mind. But this is Buon Fresco, Dusty Rose, Deep Plum, and okay, so I've already primed and set my eyes. So the first color that we're going to go in with is Orange Soda. This is one of my favorite transition colors from Anastasia, and I don't typically use a transition color every single day, but when I'm going in with like a darker crease color, then I definitely like to lay a transition color down just to help with the blending out of that darker crease color. So it really only like creates a small shadow on my skin tone. It's definitely not a dark color. That's why I think it's a perfect transition color. Now I'm going to prime my lids with my Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Copper. And this is one of those things that does not have to be done perfectly. I'm just going to put it all over my lid, right up to the crease. Now I'm going to go into the color Blazing. Now Anastasia has a lot of colors like this. Sienna, Morocco, they all have just a tad bit of a different undertone, and this one I feel like has a little more orange in it, so I'm just going to use that on the same brush that I put my transition color down with, and I'm just going to put it in my crease. But I do want it kind of blown out because it is going to be the only color in the crease. I so love this color. I don't think it's talked about enough. Now I'm going to take the color Henna, and I don't know if you can see how it reflects that light. I don't know, I thought they had finishes listed on the back, but they don't. I think this is a titanium finish, if I'm correct. And I'm taking it on my Sedona Lace 941, and I'm going to put it over the top of that lid base that we put down. So all that copper lid base is going to do is just lighten this henna just a bit. It's kind of a monochromatic look because the henna has the same undertone as the Blazing in our crease, so I didn't want it to be super dark, and that base is going to help lighten it up. And I'm just going to go in with that Blazing color just a little bit, and I just want this to be super blown out, so I am going all the way into the inner corner with my blending brush, but that's going to be totally up to you as to how blown out you want it to look. Now I'm going to take the color Smoke, which you can tell is very well loved in my palette, and I'm going to take my Zoeva wing liner brush, and I'm just going to load up that brush with that color and just lightly line my lids. Or my lash line, I guess I should say. This is just going to give a little bit more dimension. Again, because it is such a monochromatic look, I just want to add a little bit of something in there. A huge liner fan, so I do like to use shadows for that effect. So now I'm going to go back in with Smoke, and I'm going to put it on my Wayne Goss number 5 brush, and I'm just going to apply that pretty close to my lower lash line. The only bad thing about this color is that it does have the most fallout, I feel like, of any of her colors, at least in the single shadows. So you do have to be aware of that. Then I'm going to take a mixture of that Blazing and the original transition shade Orange Soda, just because the Blazing can be a little bit much by itself, and I'm just going to smoke that out. I'm going to connect the edges so we don't have any harsh lines, or I guess I should say open spaces on the edge of your eye. And then I'm going to finish it off with mascara. This is the final look. The only thing I did extra was put a little bit of nylon in my inner corner and brow bone, but you can see it's monochromatic, but I don't think it looks sick. Like, a lot of people are scared to use these colors on their lid and their crease because they feel like it kind of makes them look sickly, but I don't feel like that at all, especially if you use a black liner in your waterline, and then be sure and use the Smoke shadow on the bottom lash line. I feel like it evens it out perfectly. I love this for blue eyes. If you have blue eyes, buy these 2 shades, Blazing and Henna from Anastasia Beverly Hills. You will not be sorry. Okay, so this is like my favorite look that I've done with Anastasia Shadows, and it's not going to be new to you if you've seen my Holy Grail video where I talked about all my Holy Grail makeup, because it's the same eye look that I did in that. But I wanted to include it in this because A, it's my favorite, and because B, it's super easy, but I feel like it really packs a punch. So I've already primed my eyes and set it, and just for reference, I don't know what number this look is going to go up in my video, but I always set my primer with Anastasia Blanc eyeshadow. It's my very favorite to set primer of pretty much any eyeshadow formula, and this is my 3rd one I've gone through. As you can see, I've definitely hit pan, and I already have a backup in my drawer. So I have already set with that. Let me zoom you in. All right, so I'm going to start out with the color Burnt Orange Matte. Burnt Orange Matte. So it's basically what it says. It's a burnt orange matte color. And I'm taking it on my Morphe E27, which is normally the brush that I use for transition colors that I want to be a little bit more blown out. So I'm just going to take it on that, and I'm going to put it in my crease kind of as a transition, which means that I don't need this to be precise. I know I'm a broken record on that. I know it. No one has to tell me. Fully. So because everybody's eyes are different, unless you've had surgery to make them the same, they're going to lay a little bit differently. They're going to have skin that hoods over a little bit differently. So you want to make sure that you look in a mirror straight and make sure that you can see about the same amount of shadow when you're looking straight, because that's what people are going to see when they see you, is you looking straight at them. Rarely are you going to be talking to them like this. So you need to make sure that the eyeshadow looks fairly even. Again, it's not something that has to be precise, but you don't want it to be where you can see a lot of shadow on this eye and none on this eye. So just a tip to always look straight in your mirror before you finalize any eyeshadow look. Now I am going to go in with a base. As always, this is not necessary, but it's just something I choose to do. This is the Marc Jacobs Twinkle Pop, and this is in the color, I think it's Honey Bunny. So it's the closest thing I have to the shadow that I'm going to put on top of it, which is basically what I try to look for when I put a base on. It's very bright and sparkly. I love it. I love it. And it's very cooling when you put it on the eyes. And now I'm going to go in with the star of the show, which is the lid color. And this is Pink Champagne. So it is I cannot get this. It's a titanium finish or a high metallic. I think it's titanium. I'm going to take it on my, I bet you can't guess, Sedona Lace 941 brush. And I'm going to lay it on my lid. Now, this sometimes can take a little building up. I find that with a base, it works a lot better, but you can see, I feel like I got a lot darker when I zoomed in, but hopefully you can see that it's very bright and sparkly. And if you want a little more added, I don't necessarily think I need it, but you can always go in with your finger and just kind of pop it on the top just to add a little more metallic finish to it. Now, I'm going to take that same Morphe E37. I'm just going to kind of like blend out those lines a little bit, and then we're going to go in with one other color, and that's it. I'm taking my Zoeva 221 Luxe Soft Crease, and I'm going in with Morocco, which is kind of like a terracotta brick color, and I'm going to put that in the crease. So that's going to add to, you know, blend out the line of that pink champagne a little bit too. But having laid down that burnt orange helps this blend out a lot easier. And I just put sometimes just a little bit just on the outer V. I'm not going in with a separate outer V color, so just so it's not like a harsh line between the lid color and the crease color, sometimes I just like to blend it right there. And then I'm just going to take a little bit more of that matte burnt orange to blend it out. I like my eyeshadows to go up pretty far, so you don't have to do it this much if you don't choose to. Okay, pretty much the easiest under eye that I could possibly do. I'm only going to use one color. I'm going to use the Morocco color, and I'm going to lightly put it on my Morphe M5, I don't even know, 7. I think it's M507. It's washed off. And I'm just going to buff that under my eye. Again, for lack of sounding like a broken record, I am the type of person who likes an extremely smoked out under eye. I mean, I like it to come way down. That's just me personally. You don't have to use anything under your eyes if you are not comfortable with that, but you can see how far down that looks. And without mascara and like finishing touches, it's not the most attractive thing ever. But in just a second, you'll see me with my completed mascara and everything on, and you'll see that I really think it helps just really open the eyes. Okay, so this is with my mascara and lipstick and setting spray or hydrating spray and everything finished. So, let me get my hair to cooperate. Like I said, it's my favorite combination from Anastasia. It's so easy. It's so wearable. I'd wear it during the day. I'd wear it out at night. It's just best, in my opinion. So again, I used burnt orange matte burnt orange, whatever, pink champagne, and Morocco. Can't tell whether I'm too bright or not. Today we are going to do the most dramatic of the looks that I plan on doing from the Anastasia palettes. And it's going to be a smoky eye, but it's not going to be a black smoky eye. I'm going to use some purples. So the first color I'm going to use is, I guess you could call it a transition shade. That was loud, sorry. And it's Birkin. So I'm taking my E27 from Morphe and I'm just placing that in the crease. And just like any transition shade, this does not have to be precise whatsoever. In fact, by the end, it's probably going to be all covered up anyhow. And I have some major hair that I need to pluck on my eyebrows. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down my base. And the reason I'm doing this earlier than my next crease color is that it is a very dark base. So I'm going in with the ColourPop Gel Liner in No Shame. And if I can get that to focus, there we go. It's a purple, almost like a violet purple. I wouldn't say it's deep, but yeah, okay. It's kind of deep. That's okay. We're going for a smoky eye. I took a little bit with a spatula on my hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small concealer brush and I'm just going to pick up just a little bit. And I'm going to place it on the very bottom of my lid on my lash line. Just like this. And this does not have to be perfect by any means, because after we place, I'm going to take another brush. This is the Outer V brush from Makeup Geek, and I'm going to kind of smudge it out and up. And these set real quick. So, you know, there's not much smudge time that you have with them. And then I'm just going to put a little bit more. I don't want to go all the way up to my crease. I mean, these suckers set because I want there to be a gradient with my lid color. So now that that base is down, I'm going to go in with my crease color. Now, one would think I've got a cool color on my lids. I'm going to do I look really crazy right now. I'm going to do a cool color in the crease, but that's not how I like to do it, especially when I'm going so dark. I'm going to take Sienna, which is very similar to Morocco. It's a shade deeper, and I'm going to put that on my crease brush, and I'm going to work that in the crease. And what this does is it cuts down the black eye look that an all cool look can sometimes lead to. When you use all cool colors, especially blacks and purples, which are naturally dominant in a black eye, it can really lead to that kind of look. So when you put a warm color in the crease, it just kind of cuts down on that and keeps it from progressing into looking more like an injury versus a smoky eye. So we will keep adding on to that, but first we are going to top that base with our actual lid color. Now I am going to go in with Aubergine. And it's this really pretty, gorgeous purple color. It's matte. It's not, doesn't have any shimmer. There's nothing wrong with using a shimmer for a smoky eye. It's just not what I choose for this look. And really, I'm not even going to put it all over the lid. I'm just going to put it kind of in the middle of where that gel liner and the crease needed to meet. When you do look at it up close, there is a gradient between that gel liner, the Aubergine, and the Sienna. All right, so I'm taking that Sienna color and I am running it back over. And then with no additional product on that first brush that we used, I'm just going to buff out any harsh lines. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with that Aubergine color, and I'm using the Sephora Pro Flat Liner brush, and I'm going to pick some of the Aubergine, and I'm going to stamp it on my lower lash line. May or may not like this brush for this purpose. I don't. Let me get another one. All right, my trusty Makeup Geek pencil brush. Never lets me down, and it's super tiny enough to where you can use it with really dark colors and it won't deposit too much. So always connect it here on the outer edge so you don't have a gap. And then I'm going to go in with my always used M507 by Morphe, and I'm going to pick up some of that Sienna color. So the same goes for your bottom lash line as your crease. If you kind of cut it with a warmer color, it's not going to look as bruise-like. So this is the final look using Sienna, Birkin, and Aubergine. So today we're going to do something a little bit warmer. I actually wore this look yesterday also, and I loved it. So I'm kind of really excited that I get to do it today as well. Okay, so we're going to be using 3 shadows. The first shadow we're using is called Caramel. It's this color right here. It's kind of a step up from the matte burnt orange that maybe you've seen, maybe you haven't. I don't know what order I'm putting these in, but I do use that in another eye look, and it's a little bit of a step up from that. So I'm taking my Morphe E27 because I do want this to be a little bit more blown out, and I'm just putting that in my crease. I have, as always, already primed my eyes and set that. So you're just going to keep building that up until you have the intensity that you want, but do note that I am going to go back in with this color later, so it's okay if it's not exactly up to the intensity that I want. Now for our base today, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Marie Antoinette, which is this right here. I use this a lot in my videos because I really do enjoy the cream shadows in general, but especially this color. I'm going to scoop some out with my spatula, and I'm going to apply it to my lids with the It Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Dual Eyeshadow Brush. This fluffy side. So I'm just putting some on the brush and then applying it to my lid. It's okay if it goes up to your crease a little bit, but try not to mix it too much with that caramel shadow. So now I'm going to go in with our lid color. This is one of my, I've mentioned it before, this is one of my favorite colors to use on mature eyes because it's just shimmery enough without being so shiny that it accentuates. It's really pretty on blue eyes. And I don't know, I find that my mothers of the bride appreciate this color because all it does is enhance. And it's very similar to MAC's Woodwinked. It's the eyeshadow in Topaz. It's right here. If you have the Makeup by Mario palette, it's almost identical to, I think, the one in Paris in that. So if you don't have Topaz, but you have that, it's pretty much the same color. Taking it on my, of course, Sedona lace, and I'm just topping that base on my lid. It's just the right amount. I don't know. It's just so, like, emphasizes your eyes, but you look at your eyes, not the eyeshadow, which I find to be very important. It's like makeup. It's almost where you're going to get to a point in your life, if you're not there already, where you're going to want people to say, oh, your skin looks so great, not your makeup looks so great. So like shadows like this, I find people say, oh, your eyes are so pretty versus your eye makeup looks great. That's what I go for nowadays. So I'm going to go back into that caramel, kind of bump up that crease color and blend out any harsh lines that we may have caused with that Topaz color. Now you can very easily leave it at this and go, but I am going to use one more shade on the outer corner, and this is Fudge. This is definitely not the darkest brown that they carry, and it does have a very strong warm undertone, which is why I like to use it with colors like this. And I'm taking my Morphe M433, your MAC 217, any kind of fluffy brush like that is what I prefer to use, and I'm just stamping it on my outer corner. And then I'm going to kind of blend it inwards. A little bit in the crease, a little bit on the lid. I mean, you can build up the intensity to however much you like, but that's about what I want. And for the final time, I'm just going to go in one more time with that caramel and intensify. Obviously, you could use something like orange soda, something that doesn't have as much pigment if you didn't want such a dark eye, but I find that that just kind of enhances the look. So for the under eyes, I'm just going to mix caramel and like a touch of Fudge on this M507 brush and do what I always do. Buff it, buff it, buff it. The lower the better, in my opinion. And I know that that opinion is not always shared, but especially if you're having like an insanely wrinkly under eye day, I like to do this because it really camouflages the real like deep fine lines that we tend to have the closer up to our actual lash line. Kind of makes those go away. So this is the final look with those three shadows. Again, I think it's so perfect for blue eyes, but it really is gorgeous on brown eyes as well, so keep that in mind. It doesn't look so great with this blue shirt, but I'm about to go change. So anyways, this is the final look for Caramel, Topaz, and Fudge. That's how I came up with those 5 looks. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there is any other single shadows or palettes that you may want me to do this with. I know that Kristen Game does like 4 looks with 1 palette. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in me doing. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. And let me know also if you try some of these looks out, because I would be very excited to know how you thought they came out for you. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a very blessed day.